The Picture of Dorian Gray. A new age narcissist forced to stare into his own sins instead of his beauty, and he doesn't like what he sees. Alright, I got The Picture of Dorian Gray here. A lot of times mistitled The Portrait of Dorian Gray, but it is The Picture of Dorian Gray. It is a classic, philosophical fiction, decadent literature. I would also put it in general fiction, Gothic literature as well. It is all those things. But I think classic and genfic, those are the two like really popular, very umbrella terms, and the other ones are more specific. Written by Oscar Wilde, published in 1890. I did mention it was a classic, not just a contemporary classic, but a true classic, I feel. Hedonistic, debaucherous, philosophical, mysterious, villainous, Faustian. We will have spoilers, but not quite yet. So, giving you a little summary of this beautiful book. Basically, we have an artist who is so in love with aesthetic beauty that when he meets Dorian Gray, he needs to paint a picture of him. He needs to paint a portrait of him. He needs to paint him. He needs to capture his essence. Dorian Gray is also obsessed with aesthetics, but like I mentioned, Narcissus. He's similar to Narcissus. He loves his own youth and beauty so much. He is hedonistic to an extreme and just wants to just pleasure, just live this life that is all about seeking pleasure and doing what he wants to do without consequence. So, this artist paints Dorian, and then Dorian decides he's basically going to make a pact with the devil that the painting will age and not him. That he gets to stay youthful and the painting is the thing that will age. That's as much as I can tell you. I will get into spoilers in a bit here, and I'll let you know before I do. But that's the premise of the book. Now, target audience, if you like classics, just general, some people are like, oh, I just like classics. Like, whatever that means. I find that really difficult because I thought I was like that for a while, and then I was like, nope, there's certain things like Jane Austen, can't do it. There's some things that are much too dry. This book is not too dry. It's a little dry, but we'll get there in a minute. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but it's got a great concept. It mentions it's a philosophical fiction. It does have this great concept to ponder. It has this great this thought, this idea, this thing that you can ponder on and introspectively pull apart. There's some existential stuff going on here. If you want something to really think about, I would say this is a good delivery system for that topic. If you are into questioning morals, that's also in here. Again, if you're just introspective, if you like justice, I would say that's a thing here too. You definitely do get... Basically, if you stay up like me sometimes too late and watch instant karma videos, there is justice here. There is karma. Those things are present. So if you like all those things, I think that you would like this book. There are times that it is a little slow. It is a slow burn, but I believe the payoff is there. Is it important? I don't know if I would call it important, but it's close. And it was very important for me. I would say if you are an artist, there are passages in here that are essential. There are things in here that will hit you in a certain way. And I don't think it was meant to do that, but they are so strong, these things. There's a quote that was incredibly important to me and something that I pass on to students. And I will read that quote to you the second that I find it, because I forgot to bookmark it for this occasion. What else can I tell you why I'm looking for this? This quote that I'm going to find for you is just incredibly important, and I think that some people have heard parts of it, but not necessarily it in its entirety. Oh my goodness, where are you? I feel like I'm just killing time here. That's not it. Shelf placement. I will tell you. Nope. I will tell you in a second because I found it. Every portrait that is painted with feeling is a portrait of the artist, not the sitter. I think that right there is where a lot of people, that's a quote that's fairly popular. Let's continue though. The sitter is merely the accident, the occasion. It is not he who is revealed by the painter, it is rather the painter who, on the colored canvas, reveals himself. The reason I will not exhibit this picture is that I am afraid that I have shown in it the secret of my own soul. So, I really like the entirety of that quote, but especially that middle part there that is saying that, it's just reiterating again, the sitter, the subject, they are merely just the occasion, the opportunity, the vehicle for the painter to reveal themselves. And I find that incredibly true. You could be painting a picture of a dog, and you can reveal a lot about yourself in that painting. It happens. And it's just a beautiful, poetic way to think about creating art. So I really love that. That was important to me. I think the book in and of itself is somewhat on the important scale, but it just depends. I think it is its potential to be very important. I don't think it's a must-read for everyone, especially because it is a classic. It does get a little dry at times. There's just a lot of describing stuff sometimes in great detail in a way that doesn't move things along quite enough. It was hard for me to place this book on my shelf. I would say it is a mid-high on my shelf. It's good, and it has great elements, but the entirety of it, I can't call it great. I think the concept is great. I think there's certain passages that are great. But because just the style of writing was a little bit of a miss for me, at times, again, the pacing was a little too sporadic, but I'm sure that was just consistent with the writing at the time, but I'm not sure. So for me, it's mid-high. It's 100% a keeper. But if you're not used to reading older literature like that, then it would probably be more difficult for you, and it was already at times a little tedious for me. But it is a good book. If you like classics especially, I think you'll get into it. Now I'm going to go into spoilers here, just to cap this off. So, like Narcissus falling in love with his own reflection, we have Dorian, the New Age idiot. The artist, at one point, calls on Dorian to repent for all his sins because the artist has seen what the portrait looks like after Dorian has done all these heinous acts. He just lives how he wants to live without any regard for anyone else, basically lie, cheat, and steal type of approach to life. And rather than just like his regular age reflecting in that painting of just like, hey, I'm a year older, but I look the same, and the painting's actually a year older, it's his sins that carry the weight. His sins age the painting, and it looks atrocious. His beautiful visage, he's a goblin. he's horrendous, and the artist pleads with him to change, right? To ask for forgiveness for all these horrible things he's done. I mentioned the Faustian thing before, and if you don't know what that is, basically the Faust thing is just that whole thing of like the devil at the crossroads, making a pact with the devil. That's basically the origin of that, for the most part, is the story of Faust, and that's basically what he did here. But you don't get anything for free, right? Like, so he is sacrificing something, and I mentioned there's justice. So Dorian does not like being told that he needs to repent. he blames the artist and says it's all your fault that this happened, and he kills him. He kills the artist. And then, in a fit of rage, he stabs the picture because he hates what he has become. And really what happens, though, is that the folks in the house, they hear something, they go and investigate, and they find this hideous, hideous man on the floor with a knife through him. So when he stabbed the picture, really, he stabbed himself. He killed himself by accident. He was trying to kill his visual self and what he looked like on the inside with all these sins. And in his death, people saw what he became. This ugly, hideous man. He was unrecognizable. But by his jewelry, they were able to tell who he was. So that is the picture of Dorian Gray. I quite enjoyed it. But again, there were times it was a bit of a slog. But I think it's well worth it if you can get through a classic. It's also not that long of a read. But at times it felt that way. So keep that in mind. But I do think it's worth it. It definitely has a lot of stuff in there to ponder and to think about, some existential moments as well. And especially if you're an artist or a creative type, I think you'll get some real good stuff out of it. The Picture of Dorian Gray.